Start voiceover off.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamra. We do everything nursing here. I'm going to show you how to prime and flush an IV bag. Let's get started, shall we? So if you're giving an IV medication, you will need to prime the line, which I just have some heparin here. If it's going into your patient, you do not want to prime the line with heparin. But if you're not putting it on the patient and you're just flushing, you can. This is my micropore tubing, as you can see here. It's going to get put into the line. Now, we have to check for drawbacks before we infuse our fluid. So you're going to take a 15 ml syringe with some normal saline. And then attach. You can either use a blunt or an alcohol needle at this time. If you are sticking the patient, you can use a needle. This is my big old bag of IV fluids here. It's 50 milliliters. I'm going to be giving that twice. Now, you see how the fluid's right at the top here? That means you're going to have a nice primed line to work with. So I'll set that back there and attach a bigger needle. You'll want to use a really huge needle to attach. If it's not going into the patient. If you haven't put in your line already on your patient, you will want to do so. Now, you'll notice that the light on here is green and my fluid is in fact infusing. Now, I'm going to get a 10 ml flush, just a normal saline. And again, we're just going to check for drawbacks. Make sure these lines aren't kinked or clotted. You will need another big, huge needle here. Excuse my rummaging. I just have this very tiny blunt needle here. And this line, it's only got a 20 ml, so it's not as heavy. And you can take the line. Lines like to be messed with. You should have heard that click, which means that the fluid in fact will flow. We're going to flush the other two lines just to be sure. to grab 2 sterile flushes. And this is just priming the lines to make sure that there's no air in our line. So now we are going to cap that. Right, because we are all done with that. So we can just go ahead and put the cap on to not focus on it. Now, what if we don't have any neutral connectors, which my line doesn't here. These are just the patient sides. My next video, you can check the link below, but my next video will tell you how to draw blood off of an IV. So click the bell button and the subscribe button if you want to hear more of my videos. I'm going to show you now how to flush these IV lines. So there's 2 lines, channel A and channel B, which is why I have 2 flushes here. Now my nurse friend, Carly, is going to join me. And we are in fact doing this on a doll, so you can see our patient here, just for demonstrational purposes. I'm going to open channel A. And infuse my fluid. So, you can see that that fluid is in fact now going to flush. Now, we will do the same thing to our next line until this procedure is completed. Now, depending on the amount of lumens on your IV cap, there could be 1 and there could be 2. I have 2. So in my case, I need 2 10 ml flushes. Now, I haven't infused my fluid just yet. I did put it in the line. This is my friend Carly. She's just helping me here. And we have Peyton, too. Our nursing friends. Okay. Now, this did draw back for us, so it is a safe line to use. Amen. So we now disconnect and we check the syringe for blood. Now, we're going to do the same thing with channel C and D, because I'm working the 4 lines. And I did get pullback, but not enough to give me a sample. Now, it looks like my patient is ordered for general dextrose, which is IV fluids. So, we are going to fill a 10 ml syringe, and it's going to go into channel A. And I am working with a central line here. So, if you are new to central lines, I'm just pushing my fluid in. Can you grab me a flush? Yeah. So this is our channel. You can see that the fluid will not infuse until we flush it. Okay. Well, that's sad. I was gonna try and do it without flushing, but it won't even infuse. Because this isn't actually connected to a real patient, we're not going to be able to draw blood. And I will show you flushing. And then I'm not going to show you cap change because it's not time for that yet. My patient here does have a central line dressing. Just make sure that fluid goes all the way through. We're gonna push that up. Now, I'm going to show you my big old bag of fluids that my patient's getting. So this is the infusion that they get connected for. This is IV fluids. It's 50 milliliters. The bags are pretty heavy. This is the bag. Then it has a blunt needle so it can hang into the line. You will need blunt needles or neutral connectors, whatever you use to connect into your line. For demonstrational purposes, I have chosen not to clamp off line C or channel C because I want to show you flushing when an infusion is running. So, let's get to it. Grab the saline here, and my patient will be requiring heparin, all of them do. So we'll draw up the flush. And this is just a cap to cap it off. They're micropore caps, but we still use them. And my patient gets a 20 ml heparin dose. Here's the heparin. Okay. So this is the heparin. Now, depending on your patient's dose, you sometimes can use a smaller syringe, but because I'm running a bigger bag of fluids right now, we need bigger flushes. So, I need to draw up one more flush because it's important as much heparin you put in, there needs to be equal amount of saline in order to lock off the line. So I'm just going to use a 15 ml flush instead. Totally rule breaking here. I'm keeping everything sterile though as I flush to change my dose. Now, I'm going to show you step by step what I do. Make sure the hub gets cleansed. And she is getting 20 mils of heparin and 15 mils of saline. So there will be a balanced amount between the heparin and the saline. Enough of a balanced amount. The amount doesn't have to be exactly balanced, but it should be 5 or 10 mils below the heparin dose, or 3 mils above the heparin dose, and I don't have a 23 mil syringe, so I'll just use a 15. Okay, so now, good talk, you're gonna see me do everything that I normally would. And I'm going to connect a blunt into place on my flush. I'm going to bring this as close to the camera as I can. Push this up. I'm going to give it a minute to flush. There will be no need to check for blood. Pull back again, because we already did. I'm just going to look. You should check the syringe every time you pull back on it. Now, I'm putting in the heparin and something really important that I learned about heparin is it's really good to make sure that your patient gets the whole flush. Uh-oh. That didn't sound too good. Heparin didn't even flush. Ooh, butter. Here is a regular blend. There we go. Okay. Flush it again. See if I can get that heparin to go in. Okay, we've got one line disconnected. Now, what if your patient gets 20 mils on both sides? And that's something we'll talk about. And I'm going to clamp this infusion so it doesn't keep going and infuse my heparin. I hope you guys use clamps. At your facility. Since the syringe ain't the main focus anymore. Now we're moving on to channel D. Okay. So, first things first, I'll draw that heparin and saline. So we can do the SASH method. So a saline flush, a medication administration, which I already did. They had their fluids. And then you will need my policy is I have to do 2 saline flushes here. So it's just as simple as you did for the other one. You may feel that I'm running and not staying still. I am managing to stay still. Meanwhile, well, I am gonna grab my 15 ml. Then there's only one flush instead of 2. I did just shorten a process, but you can shorten the process if you do it the right way. So once again, you will take your blunt needle and attach it on. Make sure you cleanse the hub area before you put anything on. You can go ahead and pull back. You really want to let that flush once in there. Get that out of there. That can happen if you pull back sometimes. I had to put a pair of gloves on and grab it. Nothing in my syringe. Perfect. I'm going to add my heparin on. And you might be saying, why is my patient getting 20 ml doses? Okay, bye guys. Bye till next time. If you have any questions, be sure to ask those in the comment section below. Thank you. I look forward to the next video.
Stop recording. Back. Camera. Stop recording.